basically, I want to touch on. There's a few things I want to go over. There's like starting with the willpower myth, starting with um, the mindset that people think I just need a bit more willpower, and then every week, every week after that, we'll go through something different. Something about, I don't know if you're into psychology, or if you're into, like, have you ever heard of self determination theory or anything like that? But I'm going to cover some stuff like that because you know um, this week some things have popped up in terms of beliefs and stuff like that, and I want to ask you, especially you two, obviously people watching on replay, like, and when I, ask you something honestly, is I want the answer in your head, not the sort of the polished answer that people give. Is how many times did you last month? How many times did you fall off what you were trying to do, and then tell yourself it's because you don't have enough discipline or enough willpower, or you're just not one of those people that can stick to things just this month alone? Like, let's say the past 30 days.
I can honestly say I've probably fallen off it 20 of those 30 days, but I don't sort of tell myself that I've got no willpower. I don't beat myself up over it. I just sort of, because part of me just goes, like this week, probably because of the stress, I've really wanted chocolate. And most days I haven't had it. But eventually I gave in last night and I had some of the really strong, the 85% dark chocolate. And I ate it and I thought, I needed that. It's just what I needed. So I didn't beat myself up, but I haven't given in every time. So I thought I did okay not to give in every single time.
Mine's twice, but very similar. It's a choice now. It's I'm going to do this. So Luke's promotion as an example. So we went to dinner, and I just thought, I'm not going to sit here with my flipping chicken and my salad, for God's sake, while you're eating out. So eating out is always I have to think about it a lot. And it's difficult when, oh, I don't know, somebody's got steak and chips and they order and I go, yeah, I'll have that chicken and salad, please, and water. It's like flipping heck. That's really hard for me. But I made a choice, and mine was just twice. And with this new plan that I'm doing this week with you, I had chips with the meal that me and Phil. So we just said, I'm not doing this, and we went out. I needed de-stressing. I ordered something healthy and then said, no, sorry, could I have a side of chips with that? Because it was a conscious decision, and I knew that yesterday, and going forward for the next 3 weeks, I've got a plan to manage. So I don't think it's willpower or discipline. I think it's a good thing that I actually make that choice to do something different, because I also know that I've got the confidence, the willpower, determination, whatever you want to label it, that I won't be doing that again. It's not like it's a slippery slope for me. I'm going to do it consciously because I want to, and then I won't do it the next day for another 2 or 3 weeks. So I think that's a bit similar to Carol. It's a conscious decision now.
Yeah.
I think it's good that you can take agency like that, because I think that maybe that was a different when you first joined the program, because a lot of people come to us and they say, like, this version of me has failed this many times, and you sort of you start to accept it as a fact about yourself. I am not disciplined. I don't have any willpower, whatever it is, or I just don't have what it takes to lose weight now. And I want to sort of, maybe not as relevant for you two specifically, because you're in a better place mentally in that aspect, in the way that you frame stuff. But I want to dismantle it for if it ever does pop back up, because it's not this is not to let you off the hook and just go, do whatever you want. But it's purely it's built on science that has not held up the willpower. I don't have enough willpower, and blaming yourself for something that was never yours to blame, essentially. So, and what I want to talk about really is, hopefully by the end of this, you'll start to see consistency completely different, and I'll give you sort of like a practical shift that you can make this week that has nothing to do with trying harder. But I think that it starts with discipline, and I love that word. I have it tattooed on my wrist. But it sounds I've got a strange relationship with it. It sounds like a virtue, right? Self discipline, the disciplined woman, But we grew up hearing it in school, in sport, or and particularly every diet plan that's ever been written. And if you're not getting the results you want, the assumption is baked into almost everything that you just need more of that. You need more of that discipline. And for women, especially, that word has been wielded like a weapon. If you ate the biscuit, you lack discipline. If you skip the workout, you lack discipline. If the plan fell apart after 3 weeks, it's not the plan's fault; it's your fault. Essentially, your willpower is not strong enough. You were not disciplined enough. And the diet industry is built on this premise of it needs you to believe that failure is a character flaw. Because if failure was a design flaw in the approach itself, you would stop going back to that approach. Let's use Slimming World as an example, right? It sells you the same thing over and over again, but it's wrapped slightly different to Weight Watchers, to whatever it is. So then that tells you, they'll tell you, like Sharon told me this when she was at Slimmers World, like, oh, you must have eaten quite a bit because you put on a bit of weight, like this 1 week when she was there. And essentially telling her, you need to work harder, commit harder. And I'm sure, like you would tell me, that's happened in the past to you. You've gained a bit of weight, you've blamed yourself, and this idea of willpower, basically it didn't just appear, it came from, I think it was like, there was a psychologist called, in the 90s, called Roy, what's his name? Baumeister, I think it was. Baumeister. He ran quite a series of experiments, and one of the most talked about or cited is basically people were brought into a room with freshly baked cookies and freshly baked radishes, a fresh bowl of radishes, sorry. And some participants could eat the cookies. Others were told to only eat the radishes and resist the cookies. Then everyone was given a particularly challenging puzzle to solve. And then what happened was the radish group gave up on the puzzle much sooner. And the conclusion they took from that was that resisting the cookies had depleted their willpower, and it gave them less mental resource to tackle the puzzle. And then this Baumeister called it the ego depletion. And this idea was then born that willpower is like a battery, or a muscle that sort of fatigues if you work it too much. So every act of self-control sort of draws then from the limited tank that we have, or the limited battery that we have. When it is empty, you're done. This idea went fucking exploded in the 90s, and it became the basis of a best-selling book. And essentially the solution to that was just build your willpower, muscle through practice, and protect it by sort of not wasting it. And I believed it. I believed this as well back in the noughties. Basically, don't waste it on small decisions. And hence why some sort of very successful people wear the sort of same outfit every day, like Steve Jobs. I think Barack Obama wore the same suit. Steve Jobs, the Apple guy, was like, before he passed, he was wearing always the black turtleneck thingy constantly, so he didn't deplete it wearing different clothes. Because it was less decisions for them to make, right? So therefore they saved willpower, and it felt true. It matched the lived experience of millions of people, women, who noticed they were better in the morning, slipping by the evening, right? That makes sense. It makes logical sense. You're like, I'm quite solid in the morning, but then I slip. I get cravings at 4 p.m. I give in to them. Of course, my battery is draining. Of course, because I've been resisting things all day. But the part of the story that the books didn't catch up with was when the researchers tried to replicate this Baumeister's findings at a scale, big scale, using a better methodology, which is very important in science, it got very messy. So there was an effort involving 2,000 participants, and they found that the ego depletion effect was a lot smaller than that Baumeister had reported. Some of the labs that were doing it found no effect at all. So that is a crisis in psychology, and that hit that sort of theory of ego depletion hard. Now, what this means is that draining the battery model, the one that has made many millions of women feel broken for running out of steam by Tuesday evening, doesn't hold up in the way that we are told. Willpower is not nothing. Effort still matters, but the simple idea of finite tank that empties with each act of self-control, each micro decision, the evidence does not support it in the way it once seemed. So think about that for a second. You are not, and if you use this framing, you will develop more resilience. You are not running out of a limited resource. In the past, something else was happening, and that something else is actually far easier to work with, because this is what excites me about habits. The bit that I find generally exciting to talk about is always habit formation. There was a researcher called Wendy Wood at the University of California, and she spent decades studying why people do what they do. If you know of my recommendations of books, Atomic Habits by James Clear, all on habits, is a must read. But essentially, her work points to a very large chunk of what you do every single day. Somewhere around a third to half of your daily behavior is not conscious at all. It is a habit. It is autopilot. It runs off cues in your environment, not an active choice. So when you think about your morning, think about, did you decide to make your coffee, or did you just make it? Is it something that you literally, as soon as you wake up, I go for a piddle, I weigh myself maybe, and then I go downstairs and I make it. I don't consciously make the decision, I'm going to make a coffee. Did you decide to pick up your phone the moment you woke up, or did your hand just go there? Was it automatic? Did you think carefully about the route you drove this morning, or did your hands just turn the wheel and you're like, I'm just heading there, I'm tired, and you're on autopilot? Because a huge proportion of what you do is not coming from deliberate willpower. It's triggered by context. And this is a massive insight, because you're not choosing the biscuit at 4 p.m. because your willpower battery has run out. You're choosing it because something in the environment, it could be the time of day, it could be the stress you're carrying, it could be the cupboard that is at eye level, it could be the biscuits that are out on the kitchen table, or next to the sofa, and it's the fact. Okay, it could be the fact that you always have something sweet at that time. It is sending a cue to your brain, and your brain is running the habit pattern as it was given. And that isn't weakness. That is just how the brains work. It's really good news, to be honest, because it means the solution is completely different to what you've been trying, and just trying to white knuckle through things. And I suppose I want to add a layer a bit more that is specific to where most of you are, because I think it explains something women have not noticed, maybe have noticed actually, but have not named it. Through perimenopause, and then obviously as you come out into the back of menopause, it brings a real increase in cognitive load and stress on the nervous system. So what estrogen and progesterone both have is the effect on your body is they're very calming, they're very regulating, and as they fluctuate in perimenopause and as they sort of decline in menopause, the nervous system is running essentially hotter, right? Imagine it like a car where the temperature gauge is just a bit hotter and a bit more finding a bit more challenging to regulate. Your cortisol is more reactive. Your capacity to manage things without effort genuinely goes up, because more things feel like effort. And this is why I hate listening to 20-year-olds who are in shape, 20-year-old girls or 20-year-old guys, and going, we've all got the same hours in the day, man. You just need to do this. And it's just like, it's infuriating. I don't know why he was American, my impression, but they normally seem to be those. Anyway, things are genuinely, more effort. They feel like more effort. And so if you have noticed the strategies that you used at 35, and not working at 48 or 52, and that is a significant part of why, because the biological buffer that you were relying on is sort of thinned out now, and the approach that was already imperfect has made the 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 speed at which you fail faster. So then you blame yourself, and then you blame yourself again, and then instead of recognizing that the tool was wrong for the job or the approach was wrong, and the job has got essentially harder, because if we're honest, losing weight this phase of your life is more difficult than when you were 20, right? And I'm not here to say, oh, this is your excuse, you can run with it. I want to be accurate with you, because the accurate diagnosis leads to the right solution. And the right solution is not more willpower. I hear this day in, day out of people like, how you doing? Yeah, I've been struggling for 4 years with my weight. Okay, no problem. What do you think is causing it? Just I need more willpower. I honestly, the amount of messages I get in my inbox that aren't clients, that are people struggling, it's that. And there's, I know I need more power. Oh, okay, cool. So if it is willpower, then what do? I just need more of it. Okay, and then I have to go through a long spiel of why it's not willpower. And Wendy Wood's work, essentially, a whole body of habit research on it, points to the same conclusion again and again and again. The most effective way to change behavior is not to strengthen your resolve, although I like the idea of that with through our daily non-negotiables. I love that because you are purposely doing something challenging and difficult. I do like that. But it is the biggest thing, even more so than that, is to change the context in which the behavior happens. You have to try and design the environment so the easier choice and the better choice are the same choice. I'll give you some concrete examples, right? Because I don't want this to sort of just say like, oh, that was really motivating, Dean, and then like you just go away and just forget about it tomorrow. If for example, if your issue is the biscuits, if the biscuits are on the kitchen counter and the protein is in the fridge at the back, you are going to choose the biscuits at 4 p.m. when you're tired, when you're stressed, and it's not because of weak willpower. It's because the path of least resistance in that moment is the biscuits. That is far easier to get to than you going like this into the back of the fridge. So change the environment. Biscuits out of sight, protein at the fridge of the front, so it's very easy. Then suddenly the easiest choice is the better one. You don't have to go looking for the biscuits. And even better, if the biscuits aren't in the house and they're at the thingy, you've increased that barrier to get there. I don't want to get in the car and go and pick up some hobnobs, although I have been known to do that. But that effort is like, fucking hell, I can't be asked to do that. So change that environment. If it's workouts that you want to do more of, is your like training kit laid out, or is it packed if you're going off to the gym or if you're doing it at home workout? Is it laid out ready for you to jump into in the morning, or if you do it in the evening? So you don't have to decide at 6 a.m. whether can't be bothered to look for my stuff. Where's my running socks, or where's my gym shorts and stuff like that? Most days you're not going to bother. Right, so pack it the night before, or set it up the night before. Put the shoes, if it's just a walk you're going for, put your running trainers by the door. So you've removed the friction then from that decision at exactly the moment you're least equipped to make that good decision. Right, if your phone is by the bedside table and you're scrolling until midnight, the environment is triggering that behavior. Right, phone in another room by 9 p.m. Let's say you go to bed at 10. The cue is then gone. You do not have to resist it. It's just not there to trigger you. Right? None of these are majorly dramatic, and they don't require a personality overhaul or an act of willpower. They're really environmental nudges, and the research says that they're far more effective than just trying harder. If we do them both together, we are fucking unstoppable. And that isn't an opinion. That's just what the data shows us, right? And, I want to ask you to both one sentence. What is one environmental change I've talked about or that you're thinking about doing that applies to you?
I don't have anything in the house anymore. There's no biscuits to put out the way. oh, I'm really hungry. And then I open the fridge and it's either, oh, look, there's yogurt or protein yogurt or yogurt. And I'm like, right, okay, then it'll be that then. So if I did want something else, I've had 2 spoons of yogurt in a bowl, and then that feels weirdly naughty and it feels like I've eaten something. But they're literally, you could go around the house, there is nothing here. I would literally have to get the car out and
Yep,
go shop to get
that's
something.
it.
So I've just changed that, and now there just isn't anything here.
And what a good work. What about you, Carol? What's one?
For
Well,
me, I mean, I can't really have my phone too far away from me in case I get a call about Terry, but I could have it across the room rather than next to me, so I've got to actually get out of bed before I can touch it. So that'd be an option for me. I mean, biscuits and things aren't my thing anyway. I'm savoury, I'm crisps, unfortunately. But I buy the multi-bags, so it rather than the big bags, because if I buy a big bag and open it, I'll eat the whole lot. So I buy the multi-packs, and then if I'm fancying some crisps, I just have the one pack.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So these are good because I'm not here. I want to be fully transparent. I'm not here to say that willpower doesn't exist or effort doesn't matter, because it clearly does. Especially in the early days of building something new, specifically your approach, when you're trying to lose weight, you do have to push past discomfort. You have to push through discomfort. You have to embrace discomfort. But the first time you do something differently, it is effortful because the habit hasn't been established. You know, but the evidence that we have no longer supports the idea that you're failing just because you've got cruddy willpower, or your willpower muscle is very small. It's simply because I think it's just smaller than I don't know. I think that people think that the willpower is, I just don't have as much willpower as my friend or whatever it is. And I think that the women who seem, that we talk to, who seem to have this sort of effortless consistency, they're not they're very often not white knuckling it. I think that they've built the environment that makes the behavior easier. Number one, or they've been doing it for long enough that it's generally become automatic. And both of these things you can do, neither of them requires you to be a different kind of person. So the reframe I want you to carry out of this session is that next time something slips, before you reach for the word lazy or uncommitted or ill-disciplined, whatever it is, ask yourself a better question. What in my environment made the wrong choice the easier one? And what is one thing I could move, remove, or change to make the choice the path of least resistance next time? Because that is a completely different conversation with yourself. It is a solvable problem instead of a character flaw. Then, you're not self-critical of yourself, and then solvable problems get solved. So, here's your homework. Identify one moment this week where you regularly slip. Let's say it's like, for example, I'm just giving you an example. This is not you. I'm not saying you slip here, Laura, but let's say that you're like, I'm going to work out twice this week, and you're like, I just haven't been able to do it because of work constraints or whatever. Then try and identify a moment where, even if you just get 5 minutes in, you come back, you get 5 minutes. I think the dog's trying to break in. You get 5 minutes in, even if it's not a full session, or if it's something else that's limiting it, if it's you saying I'm just too tired to work out, try and identify one moment where it's really hard for you because you're really good with the nutrition, so I know you're not sleeping there,
It's
but
my exercise.
it's because of your long days, like that.
The bit about the getting my trainers, my leggings and my t-shirt ready in the morning is a really good thing. So, I know tonight's a bit different, but last night I made sure I left work on time. I got in here at 6:15, and I didn't actually hit my bedroom till 10:30 because I was eating what I was supposed to eat on the new plan. I did the rest of the 4,000 steps that I had short for the 10,000, and then I did 30 minutes in the garage on the gym equipment because that's my plan.
Yep.
And that felt really good because I'd achieved something. That was great. But then I had to get all my work stuff ready, fill stuff, lunches, and then I didn't even get in the shower till 10 to 11, and then I fail on my sleep because then I've got it was a whole 2 hours, all of that stuff that I'm meant to do on the program that I know I need to do took 2 hours from start to finish. So it was like that's a big amount of time for me and I actually got in earlier last night than I normally do. So, and it's like, how do I maintain that? How, I work at a desk job as an example. So unless I'm actually on the other side of our plant where I work, I might only get 3,000 steps. I've got to find 7,000 steps. That's like 4, about 3.5 miles, something like that to do when I get home. It's really hard. But tonight I'm later, plus we've had this call, but I've got my stuff to get changed into. And then I was like, okay, I'm only going to have about 20 minutes. But in my head, talking to you, it's like, okay, well, 20 minutes is better than 0. And I might not get to 10,000 steps, but I'm going to do 20 minutes in the garage and then I'm going to do 20 minutes on my walker. And let's just see where we finish. And that's what I did today, because otherwise I'm setting myself up to fail. But if I can try and get as close to it as I can, then that's an achievement, surely, because it's more than I was doing. It's just I've not hit what I was hoping to do. So
Yeah.
it's the exercise for me. That's the bit. I seem to have nailed nutrition, but nutrition on its own isn't strengthening my body or helping me lose weight or making me feel mentally stronger.
Yeah.
And they're the 3 things I'm trying to do. And I know I need that exercise piece on top. Because I always feel loads better when I've done some exercise. I feel happier, I don't feel as low, etc., etc. So I know what I can get from it. It's just trying to get to it. That's the issue.
Good. I'm going to pop this up in the community about the homework from this live. Just pop yours in the comments when we put it up, because me and Viola will be in the comments and just sort of just check in, like if there's anything that we need to sharpen in your environment. If you're not sure what to change, you're like, I don't know what I should do, tell us the moment and we'll work it out together, because this is one of the things that I think it just hits better when you say it out loud if you're particularly struggling with it. So yeah, when I put it up, comments, this is what I'm going to improve. So for example, it's the get my gym stuff ready in the morning and in the evening for the morning after. And yeah, I just think this little mindset series that we're going to go on is going to be interesting, because we're going to talk a lot about what the biggest reasons that I think the biggest reasons why people don't achieve what they want to achieve. And this is not just weight loss. This is very specific to any goal that people set, is because of limiting beliefs. They really, that I think it was Henry Ford who said that, but like you either believe, what did he say? You either, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
In the sense of like your belief will do, because your belief, if you don't believe you will achieve, if you don't, let's say you can't, let's say you're like, I just can't lose weight, it's just something, I'm this magical unicorn, I can't do it. You will find subconsciously behaviors that sabotage your progress. So so yeah, I think mindset is huge, and it's part of the reason why we don't have 1,000 women in the program, is because the thing that makes them stop that take that leap and invest in themselves is they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe what is possible for them. So yeah, I mean, we all have different limiting beliefs, and we just need to shatter through them. So yeah, I'm gonna put that up in the community and pop it up. All
Yeah.
right, cool. All right,
That's
any
good.
questions before I go?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, no. I think I've just got to keep going, keep pushing, and hope that, the stresses both of us hope our stresses just diminish eventually, we can get back to some form of normality.
I think that's the hardest piece to manage at this stage of life. Master some of the nutrition, you can try to find the time to train, and then it's the rest of the world that then, unfortunately, you're right, you just have, I don't know, less patience or less tolerance, or it's your stress system, as you talk about. And I think it's how we manage that's the bit for me, understanding what changes are happening, because you say, well, that's not like me to, I don't know, fly off the handle at something like that, or it feels like a character sort of transformation. I've turned into somebody I don't even know. It's that in trying to manage it. And it's just about all those stresses were probably there when I was 30 or 40. It doesn't matter. It's just how we handle them now that's different. And I haven't got a handle on that at all.
Yeah, I think that the live schedule that we have coming up is going to be good, because there's obviously, we talked about the willpower myth. Now next week is self compassion and resilience. It's about the research into that. Then the next one that'll be very relevant for you, Carol, is like implementation intentions, and that is where, if this happens, then I do this. That's what an implementation intention is. And then we've got a couple of others about, I don't know if you've ever heard of locus of control. I've talked about it many years ago, maybe 2 years ago. That talks about what is actually in your control. Whatever we control, we can manage. If it's not in your control, we need to discard it. And then the last one, what was it? That last one is self-determination theory. So that is about essentially why this has to be your way, and we go into some practical stuff on that, because I think that most of the biggest breakthroughs we've ever had are not actually weight loss, believe it or not. I mean, we had someone lose 8 stone, which is crazy, but it's the mental transformation that drove that. So if we can shift your thinking certain aspects, then yeah, it's huge. So yeah, okay. Let's do it then. Next week.
Right. Yeah.
Dean.
Thanks very much, Dean.
No problemo. Enjoy your evening, and
You've just taught me into a quick walk before it starts going dark.
Yeah,
Laura.
I'm off.
enjoy.
Why I bought the it's not a treadmill, it's an actual walker, because
Walking pad.
Walking pad, thank you. Yeah, because I
The
just
best
thought,
thing ever. I'm telling you.
I did it in it wasn't that expensive neither, but I did it when we went into winter, and I was like, how the hell am I going to get out with the dog and get all my steps in? So
That was like €90, cheap as chips.
yeah, I think mine was about 90 quid or 99, or it wasn't hugely expensive, like you
I mean,
see.
we can't run on it, but it's amazing for like, if, for example, I would do it if it was properly set up and we were on a ground floor. I'd be doing it now and chatting to you while doing this walking and getting
Yeah, I just
5,000
think
steps.
get chance, like you said, just do it while we're on a live call. I don't have to be on. I just literally dive through the door and then at my tea, and then didn't get chance to get changed. But it's absolutely, and it's got an incline on it as well, so you can kind of like feel it in your car. So and it as I said, I can just put an episode of something on the telly and do it in front of the telly. So it has helped me. There's no doubt about it. But it just gets that. I don't know if you're 2,000 or 3,000 steps short. It's just really useful. I know everybody can't afford that, but it has been a bit of a godsend, to be fair.
No, it's massive. When Viola was months ago, actually probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, she was going through a particular dieting phase. We wouldn't get our steps up in the day for whatever reason. We'd walk the dogs and stuff, and she'd have loads of steps to do, and she would literally just pace around the room. And I always found that, so obviously it's amazing, it's very committed, but I was thinking, there has to be an easier way. And then obviously walking pads sort of became more popular. I was like, that is just, why are we not getting that? It's just so much easier. Because we
I've
were
not even
what?
heard of
We
it.
were marching,
Mm,
watching series.
I'll send you a picture of mine and see what it is. But I
yeah,
think I got it from something like Amazon. As I said, it's pretty sturdy.
yeah,
And it goes up to a certain speed. I don't know, say 10,
yeah,
and I would be just on the edge of maybe going into like a jog or
Oh,
something. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite a
right,
fast walk, but it's got so many different speeds on it.
Okay.
So you can just literally walk if your joints are bad, or
mm,
sometimes my hips are. So I put it on something lower, but I'm moving. I'm still moving.
yeah.
And then if I want a brisker walk, I just move it up on. It's got a remote control that I can just hold in my hand, and then you just press stop, and it just goes 1, 2, and it just stops. So you're not flying off it. It's got an emergency thing, so I just hold the remote in case I struggle or something. So I'm not great with my balance.
No,
So
I'm a bit like that. Yeah, I think that's something that we all need to work on as we get older. I went on hiking um, 3 days with my son and his girlfriend. Now they're in the 30s, and at their age, I could have done probably as much, if not more, of what they've done. But I was really chuffed with myself because I did. Whilst we were, my average is about probably 4,500 steps a day, thereabouts. I think, Dean, isn't it? Um,
Um,
it's very little. But while I was away that week, I did 84,000 steps, and most of them were up mountains and back down again. Although I did fall down one of them, so it's the first fall I've ever had.
every step counts, Carol.
Yeah, yeah.
as you were rolling down the mountain, it was counting on the watch. It was like, well, I'm gonna.
Yeah, no, it was just, I just stood on I was following my son, and he was sort of saying, if there was anything a bit, watch this, watch that on the way down. And he just turned round to say to me, step on the left of that stone. And I stepped on the right of it where it was wet, and it must have been algae underneath it. And I just went whoosh, gone. So I was lucky that I didn't hurt myself. I had a couple of bruises, but I didn't hurt myself. But I thought, just sit for a minute, make sure you've not hurt anything, broken anything, And so by the time I got up, I was wet through, proper wet bum. But it was a lovely warm day. It wasn't sunny, but it was warm. So, I dried out and we just got on with it. But I did 84,000 steps that week. I have to admit, last week I was knackered. I was absolutely knackered.
Like 3 times more than what you normally do.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
It's easier when you're not at work, isn't it? At the end of
yeah,
the day.
yeah. And particularly with it being up quite steep inclines, some of them, I was really, really chuffed with myself, and very uneven ground. I did call it quits on the very last one. We'd done a walk round one of the lakes, Ullswater, I think it was, and then we'd gone through one of the parks that was close to it, across fields from the lake. And then we'd called a cafe and had a coffee. And they said, well, let's do the supposedly easy walk, which was the red route, shortest route of all of them. And the first bit of it was an incline, like higher than, steeper than any of the ones we'd done, but it wasn't very far. And I thought, well, that's okay. I can get up there. I'll get my breath on the flat. And then it evened out, and I thought we were going on the even bit. And then my son's girlfriend, went, "Oh, the red route's this way, guys," and it was even steeper. And I went, "I think I'll go back down, and I'll wait for you at the bottom." So they went to the very top of that one. They went to the marker at the very top. So they sent me photographs when they got there, but they were gone for over an hour. So, before they took the photographs. So, and then another sort of 45 minutes to get back down again. So, yeah.
It's about giving it a go, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, I couldn't have done that one, I don't think. It was just, especially that was the last one, and my legs were I'd already said to Dean I was having a problem with one of my knees, and I thought, it's not the going up, it's the coming back down. That's when my knee was giving me a problem. And I thought, on those inclines, I'm going to be in trouble. So I just thought, better part of valor, let's just give this one a miss. So I went and sat in the car and read.
I'll stick to my walking pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, big walking pad, less danger.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right, well,
definitely.
I'm going to go and walk the dogs. Enjoy your evenings
Yeah,
and have a good one. See you
you
next week.
too.
Thanks, Dean.
See you next week.
Take
Bye.
care.
See you
Bye.
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.